Voices on Media. This is Coming Out Stories. It's a podcast about one of the most important conversations of your life. I'm Emma Goswell. You're now going to hear from Angela. Just wait till you hear her excuse that she came up with when her mum caught her in bed with another woman.
I knew I was gay from a very, very early age because all my friends were male, and at school I fancied Sheila Powell on the football pitch. And I had no idea that was wrong until she called me a lesbian and I didn't know what that was.
How old were you then?
14, 13. And obviously didn't know anything about that. My best friend was a gay male, and my first experience was, as weird as it sounds, he went out with this girl. I ended up with her in the end.
Ooh.
And I was probably about 16 at the time and knew all along that I was gay, and ended up telling my parents, who were devastated, absolutely devastated. The hurt in their eyes, the way they felt. And there was a lot of anger there, if that makes sense, as well.
Right, what did they say to you?
My mother thought it was disgusting. She couldn't even understand. My dad was quite an open-minded person, very caring, both of them very, very loving. But I think it was more the perception that I was an only child. This was something that was very unusual. And I think it was more about what other people would say, not what they thought. And it was all about that. What would the neighbours say? What would the friends say? And despite that, even when they thought I was going to the local youth club, I was going into Manchester at a very, very early age on the gay scene.
Oh, what sort of places? Where were you going?
At the time, we went to the Number One Club, we went to Archway, so that shows how very young I was. And obviously they thought I was at the local youth club, and I was straight into Manchester with my friend, who was probably about 5 years older than me. So obviously I experienced the scene at a very young age, so I knew, there was no doubt about it, that I was gay.
And you having relationships from a young age?
Yeah, and like I say, when I obviously did start with my, sounds really bad, my best friend's girlfriend, that was when my parents decided, obviously I was at secondary school, first year, that they would follow me when I was trying to meet up with this person. It was horrific, trying to split it up and trying to sort of say, this is wrong. And it was hideous that everywhere I went I was being followed and didn't really know until I caught them at times. And that's when I had to pretend them, not for my sake but for theirs, that it was a mistake and I didn't mean it and it was wrong. And
so you retracted being gay?
I retracted it.
You came in?
However, they knew, because obviously I lived at home, I had a double bed and I was always taking people back, and it was very, very evident. My mother caught me once and I thought, oh my God, very young age, what do you say? I had a cat, I'm looking for the cat. That was the only thing that came into my head. So they did actually
She caught you in bed with a woman?
Yeah. And I said, I was looking for the cat.
I could have said something worse, I guess.
There's a pun to that, but we won't use it. So they knew, and then I got in a most horrific relationship, which was terrible, absolutely terrible. And I ended up moving in with this person. My parents didn't like them at all. So this was the first experience they really, really had of me actually being with somebody and moving in. Went very, very wrong. And I ended up in a complete mess where I actually had to be moved out of the house by the police because it was quite a volatile relationship. And when all that was over, I remember my dad sitting in the garden and being so supportive and saying, look, I love you, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, it's very strange to me, it's very alien to me, both of them, but we accept it. We accept, obviously, that's the person you're going to be, but certainly don't make that choice that you've just made again.
But that must have felt amazing to hear those words.
It was, and it's once when I started with my partner now of 21 years, Mandy, that Mandy is so lovely that everybody that didn't accept me being gay or whatever else, or the perception, once they met her, they couldn't have them feelings because she was so likeable. Everybody loved her so much that it was alien. And we'd go out and there was many people in the pub that used to say, do you know, you two have changed the perception of what I had in my head, what was stereotypical. And that was lovely. We started to be accepted as a couple for who we were. And that was a big thing now. And if I look back, my dad's passed now, but my mum, it's just, she shocks me so much now because obviously she's got to know Mandy, been together 21 years, that she goes to a local gym. There is a gay lady there who got married quite recently. She got invited to the wedding, they're best friends. Wow. And she's got a lot of gay friends, and It was actually only 6 months ago that my mum has got a very close circuit of friends, and it's took her that long to say, my daughter's gay.
Sounds like your mum's been on as much of a journey as you have.
A big journey.
Yeah.
She's been very accepted, but still, it was only 6 months ago, and now I'm sort of 48, that she's been able to say to her friends, Angela's gay. This is a partner, she's a comedian, because he'd seen all the pictures, and it was just like, what's the big deal? And she knows it isn't, but again, a lot of it is about, if you're that sort of age group, what will other people think? And now it's just no big surprise. And the worst thing for me as well is that I was a nurse, and I felt I had to hide my sexuality for a very long time. People who I work with now, of course, do know, and they said all along, we knew, we were just waiting for you to say something. But when I changed my job about 10 years ago, I remember going on a works do and taking my partner with me, and we weren't all over each other. You could, if you were in the same room, probably just thought we were friends, and we were sat down having a meal with obviously loads of NHS, etc., and this one person just decided to shout across the table, Angela, you a lesbian, is that your partner? And I was horrified that we're meant to be the most caring, open-minded profession, and somebody could do this on a works do. And
out you against your will. Yeah.
However, I was so proud, because obviously the way Mandy's made me feel, the way Mandy's open, is that I actually just stood up and said, yes, I am. This is my partner. Do you have a problem with it? And from then, even myself started admitting to people I was gay, tough, like it. So I'd obviously gone along with hiding a lot, probably because of my upbringing, or frightened that maybe the patients that I met or anybody that was attending to might be put off because of the fact that I am gay. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like when you go into changing room and it's mad. You know you're a lesbian. However, you feel a little bit uncomfortable in a room for a lesbian. I had a huge problem that was probably inbred in me all along, which was so ridiculous. And now I think, goodness gracious.
It's not going to affect your nursing ability, is it?
No, and people don't care. And that's the difference this day and age, that people are a lot different. And it's lovely that now, in my nursing career, that I have met couples that are in their 80s, 90s, that are also lesbians, do you know what I mean? And because you are yourself and things like that, that people are just more open to talking. But I can't believe so many times I didn't stick to my guns and say, yes, I am. Do you know what I mean? I'm a lovely daughter, not brought you any problems, it's this. But I don't ever blame them, because they are so lovely and whatever else. It's people's other perceptions, their friends, who didn't care in the end.
So you're still annoyed with this person for outing against your will, or you're almost a bit grateful that you finally could be out?
Grateful and annoyed, because obviously we're in the profession we are, and that is something that should never, ever happen. And there's my colleagues doing it in an environment where they actually thought it was funny, humorous, to turn the attention on to me. Yes, they did know, but there was other ways to go and ask. And I thought that at the time, then people were so narrow-minded. Now we can laugh, we can joke about it. And I liked it in a way, because the other thing was, it never looked like I had a partner. I always used to make excuses for this partner, and it sounded, oh my goodness, you're so old, you've never been with anybody, you've never had a partner. When of course you've had a partner for 21 years that you've hid.
Wow.
And that is really bad, and I'm disgusted in myself that I ever did that. But now we laugh, we joke, and it's the other way around now, where they actually take the Michael of jokes of my sexuality and try to embarrass me. So it's quite lovely now. And you just think, because of that initial stage when I did actually say to my parents, look, this is me, I actually carried it along myself. When they actually started to accept it, I carried along with that hiding in a way that I shouldn't have done.
So do you have regrets, or it's just the way it is?
I think it's the way it is, because obviously I'm a very, very different person now. I'm very open and very honest, and no, it's great. I don't want to hide it. I don't feel as if we should. And for anybody out there that is struggling, you know, if they're parents and they do love you, your friends, your family, it's difficult. It's really, really hard. But I think genuinely, if they love you and whatever, they will accept you, and it just makes things more empowering for you. And you can be the person that you actually are, instead of not engaging and giving things away because you're being too secretive.
What would you say if you could go back in time and speak to young Angela, who'd retracted the fact that she was gay because it was all too traumatic?
I probably would have stuck to my guns a little bit more, but being the caring person that I am, and it's your parents, and you don't ever want to see your parents upset and cry. If you asked me, would I have retracted it again in that situation at that time? I can't say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Maybe what advice would you have for other young people or people just sort of question their sexuality and thinking about coming out to their family?
I think it's finding the right moment and it being right for you and not being pushed into it by other people. You need to, I think the big thing with all of us, and it doesn't matter whether you're gay or straight, is knowing yourself and loving yourself. And once you get to that stage where you think, this is me, I love me, it doesn't matter what maybe 5% think or 10% think. You cannot live your life unless you know you are proud of you and can say, this is me, take me or leave me, you either like me or you don't.
And I'm getting the sense that Angela loves Angela now.
I think at my age, I've decided that, because I think as you get older and you go through relationships and then you find a beautiful relationship where you're in, where they accept you for every single bit, because nobody's perfect, the biggest thing in life is loving yourself and having fun and trying your best to find somebody lovely to share that with. There's nothing better in the world.
Thanks so much to Angela for sharing her coming out story and her experiences of navigating relationships. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. We'd also love to hear from you on Twitter. You can find us there at Come Out Stories. I'm Emma Goswell, and Coming Out Stories is a What Goes On media production. Next time, you're going to hear from Mikey. He presents one of our sister podcasts, Backstage With, which takes you behind the scenes to meet all the stars of musical theatre.
That was the first time I ever said out loud to anyone, I'm gay. And it felt amazing and incredible, but was also probably the scariest thing I'd ever done.